The attraction that causes water and other liquids to form drops on thin films, called dash. This is also water's ability to be attraction to other water molecules. Right choice. Cohesion is the best answer.
Out of total water present on Earth, only % is available for drinking, which should be enough for all living beings, if used wisely.
Well done. A0.3 is the right choice. A student makes a model to show water cycle and labels two processes as A and B. Which option correctly identifies as A and B? Great job. A. Precipitation, B. Evaporation is the accurate answer. Water drops appear on the outer surface of a glass containing cold water. It is due to condensation. Well picked. True is the correct answer. If all of the Earth's water were placed into a gallon jug, the fresh water would equal dash. On track. A single teaspoon is the correct answer. Holding about 1/5 of the world's fresh water, what is the deepest lake in the world? You chose Russia's Lake Baikal, and it is correct. The water vapor in the air condenses to form tiny droplets of water, which appear as. Bravo! Clouds is the answer. What is it called when water is formed from a liquid to a water vapor, or an? Correct. Evaporation is the right answer. Steam rising from wet clothes while they are ironed. It is due to condensation. Smart move. False is an accurate answer. What happens after groundwater, at the very end beginning of the water cycle? Excellent. Evaporation is a brilliant choice. Look at the image and name the processes which are involved in water cycle. Smart pick. All of these is the correct choice. What is it called when plants release water vapor through their leaves? Excellent choice. Transpiration is the right answer. Evaporation happens when the sun dashes a water and turns it into vapor. Exactly. Heats up makes sense, and it is right choice. Long-term dash can devastate a region, crops fail and streams dry up. Good job. Your answer drops works well here. Water is formed when gas burns in air and combines with oxygen. Sharp thinking. A hydrogen is the right choice. This picture shows that almost 70% of our body weight is dash. Right again. Water is a valid answer. What is the next stage after evaporation in the water cycle? Strong choice. Condensation is the right answer. When solid water turns into liquid water, it is called dash. Solid response. Melting is a valid choice. The process of changing of the water into vapor is called. Clear logic. Your choice evaporation is sound and 100% true. This is what heats up the water to start the water cycle. Great thinking. Sun is the right choice. What will allow more solute to be dissolved in a solvent? You're right. Heat is the correct answer. In which stage is cool air causing water to condense? Valid point. Stage 3 is true. Does evaporation happen before or after condensation? Nice work. You chose before, and it is correct. Man also digs wells and bore wells to lift water. Nicely done. A. Ground is a solid answer.
Snow, sleet, hail, and rain are all examples of dash.
Well reasoned. Precipitation is the correct choice. What part of the water cycle does this picture show? Good thinking. Condensation is the right answer.
What percent is Earth's water is found in glaciers?
Nice selection. 2% is the correct and valid answer. Ocean water is unsafe for drinking as it is dash.
You got it. Your choice, very salty, is right.
What are the 3 states of water found on Earth?
Perfect. Solid, liquid, and gas is the correct choice.
Evaporation occurs when water changes into dash.
Correct response. Vapor is the most accurate answer. A compound that is being dissolved is called a... You're right. Solute is the correct answer.
Salt water is the water of the seas and oceans.
Well done. True is the right choice.
Which stage does the 3 show in the diagram?
Perfect. Condensation is the correct choice.
In this process, the level of water dash. Bravo. Decreases is the answer.
Precipitation is only in the form of rain.
Nicely done. False is a solid answer.
When water dash, dew and clouds can form.
Right again. Condenses is a valid answer. Identify the process shown in the image.
Nice work. You chose condensation, and it is correct.
Is it ideal to spend a day without water?
Excellent. No is a brilliant choice.
How many steps are there in water cycle?
Clear logic. Your choice 4 is sound and 100% true.
In developing countries, about dash of industrial waste is dumped untreated into water bodies, polluting the usable water supply.
Exactly. 70% makes sense, and it is right choice.
Water cycle is a continuous process. Correct. True is the right answer.
Dash of water on the earth is salty. Smart move. 97% is an accurate answer.
This frozen freshwater source is a...
Great job.
Glacier is the accurate answer.
What does this illustration show?
Great thinking. The water cycle is the right choice.
What 2 elements make up water?
Solid response. Hydrogen and oxygen is a valid choice. Water is a universal solvent.
Strong choice. True is the right answer.
Excessive rains may cause.
Good thinking. Flood is the right answer.
Identify the solute mentioned in the following activity 1. Sam mixed juice powder in the water to make a fruit juice.
Smart pick. Juice powder is the correct choice. Because water has a positive and a negative end and is attracted to other molecules, it is called a dash molecule.
Right choice. Polar is the best answer.
Name the following the process used to convert household wastewater into a form that can be reused. Well picked. Wastewater treatment is the correct answer.
Water vapor condenses to form tiny droplets of water in the upper layers of air, where it is cooler.
Nice selection. True is the correct and valid answer.
The solution in which everything is mixed thoroughly and evenly spread is known as which solution? Well reasoned. Homogeneous is the correct choice. A sugar solution which cannot dissolve more of a solute at a given temperature is called dash. Correct response. Saturated solution is the most accurate answer. Water that is stored in layers of rock and soil beneath the Earth's surface is called dash. Excellent choice. Groundwater is the right answer.
What is the term used to describe an area that begins to have more desert-like conditions?
Sharp thinking. Desertification is the right choice. Water that is constantly moving and recycled above, on, and under the earth is called dash. You chose water cycle, and it is correct. When a solvent contains as much of the solute as it can hold, the solution is said to be. Good job. Your answer saturated works well here. Fill in the blanks. The process of changing dash form into dash form is called evaporation. Valid point. Water vapor is true. True or false? There is less water on our planet today than there was 10,000 years ago. You got it? Your choice false is right. Dash is water from rain, snowmelt, or other sources that flows over the land surface. On track. Runoff is the correct answer. On which kind of day would you expect the most evaporation from the surface of a pond? What? Well done. Sunny and hot is the right choice. Two famous rivers known in Southwest Asia, in Iraq, that farmers use for irrigation. Exactly. Tigris and Euphrates makes sense, and it is right choice. Which natural phenomenon results in excess water in an otherwise dry piece of land? Excellent. Flood is a brilliant choice. A type of mixture that forms when one substance dissolves in another is known as a. Good thinking. Solution is the right answer. The water in seas and ocean have many salts dissolved in it, so the water is dash.
Nice selection. Saline is the correct and valid answer.
A person can live without food for a month, but no without water even for a week. Nice work. You chose true and it is correct. Which of the following change when boiled? Temperature, state, color. Perfect. I is the correct choice. The process by which plants give off water vapor through leaves is called dash. Good job. Your answer transpiration works well here.
Water evaporates into air from oceans, rivers, and lakes, but not from the soil.
Great thinking. False is the right choice. During the water cycle, when water vapor changes to liquid water, it is called. Clear logic. Your choice condensation is sound and 100% true. What is the process that electricity is produced from energy of running water? Sharp thinking. Hydroelectric power is the right choice. Solution where more solute can still be dissolved at the given temperature. Nicely done. Unsaturated is a solid answer. Keeping the water running when you brush your teeth wastes a lot of water. Correct response. True is the most accurate answer. Dash is the process by which water on the ground surface enters the soil. Correct. Infiltration is the right answer.
Clouds form when dash changes into tiny water droplets or ice crystals. Valid point. Water vapor is true. Which one is a process in which water change into vapors in atmosphere?
Solid response. Evaporation is a valid choice. How does water return to Earth from the atmosphere in the water cycle?
What?
Right again. Precipitation is a valid answer.
True or false? Hail is formed in the clouds, then falls to the ground.
You chose true, and it is correct.
Concrete land surfaces increases the seepage of water into the ground.
You're right. False is the correct answer. The amount of solute actually dissolved in a given amount of solvent. On track. Concentration is the correct answer.
Ocean water cannot be used for domestic purpose because it contains.
Right choice. Soluble salts is the best answer.
What % of all water sources are trapped in ice caps, glaciers?
Strong choice. 2% is the right answer. Approximately what percentage of the water on Earth is fresh water?
You got it. Your choice 2.6% is right. Water that falls to Earth as rain, sleet, snow and hail is called.
Smart pick. Precipitation is the correct choice.
What percentage of fresh water is located in glaciers and ice caps?
Well picked. 2% is the correct answer.
The quantity of water required to produce 1 page of your book is.
Well reasoned. 2 glasses is the correct choice.
When water leaves plants in the form of water vapor, it is known as.
Great job. Transpiration is the accurate answer.
The process in which water changes into its vapor is called dash.
Excellent choice. Evaporation is the right answer.
Which source of fresh water is not easily available for human use?
Bravo. Ice caps, glaciers is the answer. The process of changing water to water vapor by heating is called. Smart move. Evaporation is an accurate answer.
Water pollution and waste plays a big factor in water shortage.
Bravo, true is the answer.
About what percentage of Earth's water is found in the oceans?
Good thinking. 97% is the right answer.
Thunderstorms are the result of which type of pressure system?
Sam. Great thinking. Low is the right choice.
Ensuring availability of water for future generations is the.
Well done. Aim of water conservation is the right choice.
Approximately what percentage of Earth's water is salt water?
Good job. Your answer, 97%, works well here.
The pattern of water moving between Earth and the atmosphere.
Nice work. You chose the water cycle and it is correct.
Where does the energy that powers the water cycle come from?
Smart move. Sun is an accurate answer.
If I dissolve carbon dioxide in water, what is the solvent?
Well reasoned. Water is the correct choice.
Sand is dash, meaning that water can pass through easily.
Nicely done. Permeable is a solid answer.
Water obtained from oceans, rivers and wells are known as.
Right choice. Natural water is the best answer. What amount of the Earth's surface is covered with water? Clear logic. Your choice 71% is sound and 100% true. The Nile River flows north through Egypt and empties into. Great job. Mediterranean Sea is the accurate answer. Using less water so that it will not be used up is called. Well picked. Conservation is the correct answer. Water that seeps through the soil into the ground is dash. Correct. Infiltration is the right answer. The process of conversion of water into vapors is called. You're right. Evaporation is the correct answer. Which of the following is not a source of surface water? Perfect. Well is the correct choice. The clothes are drying in the sunlight by the process of. Solid response. Evaporation is a valid choice. This provides the power to keep the water cycle running. Smart pick. The sun is the correct choice. 1 liter of seawater contains a dash of dissolved salts. Right again, 26G is a valid answer. How much percentage of water does a human body contains? Exactly. 70% makes sense and it is right choice. Water vapor is present in air only during the monsoon. Correct response. False is the most accurate answer. Vitreous membrane in the human eye contains dashy water. Excellent choice. 99% is the right answer. Dash, wand, dashish are used to draw water from groundwater. Excellent. Both of these is a brilliant choice. Which of the following is the largest source of water? Nice selection. Ocean is the correct and valid answer. What is water doing when it is changed to water vapor? Violet point evaporating is true. Water is essential for survival of plants and animals. Sharp thinking. True is the right choice. How much percentage of the Earth is covered by water? You got it. Your choice 2% is right. Which one of the following is a purest form of water? You chose rainwater, and it is correct. The process by which water turns into gas is known as. On track. Evaporation is the correct answer. The only planet in solar system with liquid water is. Strong choice. Earth is the right answer. How many hydrogen atoms are in one molecule of water? You chose 2, and it is correct. What amount of the water on the Earth is salt water? War. Great, 97% is the accurate answer. How much portion of the Earth is covered with water? Well done. About 3/4 is the right choice. Snow, sleet, hail, and rain are all examples of dash. Bravo. Precipitation is the answer. Which is the result of condensation of water vapors? Excellent. Tiny water droplets is a brilliant choice. What percentage of water is available for human use? Well reasoned, 0.003% is the correct choice. During evaporation, water changes from a dash to dash. Sharp thinking. Liquid, gas is the right choice. What concentration of salt is present in seawater? Right again, 35 gil is a valid answer.
Which process is most important to the water cycle? Exactly. Evaporation makes sense, and it is right choice.
The supply of fresh water under the Earth's surface.
Good job. Your answer, groundwater, works well here. Water droplets left on your water bottle is called. On track. Condensation is the correct answer. A dash is a substance with a pH greater than 7.
Strong choice. Base is the right answer.
Which country uses the most fresh water per person?
Correct response. United States is the most accurate answer. The water present below the surface is called dash. Good thinking. Groundwater is the right answer.
Who write this poem? Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner.
Well picked. St. Coleridge is the correct answer. Not enough place for water to flow can causes dash. You're right. Flood is the correct answer. Process of conversion of gas to liquid is known as? Excellent choice. Condensation is the right answer. A process that removes salt from the ocean water. Nicely done. Desalination is a solid answer. Resource of water present below the Earth's surface. Valid point. Spring water is true. What is the effect of temperature on evaporation? Nice work. You chose increases and it is correct. Fog appearing on a cold winter is the result of. Nice selection. Condensation is the correct and valid answer. A homogeneous mixture is the same thing as dash. Great thinking. A solution is the right choice. At room temperature, water exits in which state? Smart pick. Liquid state is the correct choice. Which is an example of gaseous state of matter? Smart move. Water vapor is an accurate answer. Where is most of the fresh water found on Earth? Correct. Glaciers is the right answer. What is an option for bringing up groundwater? You got it. Your choice, all the above, is right. The sector which uses large amount of water is? Clear logic. Your choice, agriculture, is sound and 100% true. Water that passes through the ground is called? Right choice. Groundwater is the best answer. What is it called when liquid changes into gas? Solid response. Evaporation is a valid choice. Which of these is an example of precipitation? Perfect. Snow is the correct choice. Tuva, we should drink water to avoid dehydration. You're right. True is the correct answer. What is the energy source for the water cycle? Clear logic. Your choice. The sun is sound and 100% true. We should not repair the pipe having leakage. You got it. Your choice, false, is right. Any type of moisture that falls to the earth. Strong choice. Precipitation is the right answer. Can we drink the water of sea? True or false? Valid point. False is true. Which of these is an example of potable water? Nice selection. Underground water is the correct and valid answer. Clouds play a major role in the water cycle. Excellent. True is a brilliant choice. The change of water from a liquid to a gas?
Nice work. You chose evaporation and it is correct.
Which geographical feature in North Africa?
Good job. Your answer Sahara Desert works well here.
Amount of water contained in an adult body? Bravo. 60% is the answer. Evaporation occurs when water changes into.
Well picked. Vapor is the correct answer.
Where most freshwater is stored is in dash. Great job. Glaciers is the accurate answer. Which one of the following is not a solute?
Good thinking. Water is the right answer.
Which of these is a major source of water?
Right choice. River is the best answer.
The rate of evaporation will be faster on. Smart pick. Hot summer day is the correct choice. The release of moisture by living plants. You chose transpiration, and it is correct. The process by which plants lose water is. Great thinking. Transpiration is the right choice. Which does not require constant heating.
Nicely done. Evaporation is a solid answer.
The purest form of natural water is dash.
Solid response. Rainwater is a valid choice.
Water is made up of nitrogen and oxygen. Sharp thinking. False is the right choice. What leads to the formation of acid rain? Excellent choice. Air pollution is the right answer. Which is a type of rainwater harvesting? Perfect. Rooftop harvesting is the correct choice. What is the chemical formula for water? Well reasoned. 2 is the correct choice. Are there different types of lightning? On track. Yes is the correct answer. Which is the opposite of condensation?
Smart move. Evaporation is an accurate answer.
Where 97% of Earth's water is stored. Right again, seawater is a valid answer. Water in its gas form is called -E. Well done. Water vapor is the right choice. How much water does a human body has? Exactly. 70% makes sense, and it is right choice. How much water do humans need per day? Correct. 2 liters per day is the right answer. When is World Water Day celebrated? Correct response. 22nd March is the most accurate answer. What is needed for drinking, bathing? You're right. Water is the correct answer. The percentage of water in potato is? Strong choice. 75% is the right answer. Who is known as Waterman of India? Great job. Rajendra Singh is the accurate answer. Teeth and skeleton have -water. Correct. 2% is the right answer. Collecting rainwater is called -. Correct response. Rainwater harvesting is the most accurate answer. What happens when there is no rain? Excellent. Drought is a brilliant choice. which is not a part of water cycle. Bravo! Animals is the answer. Renewable resources are those that exactly are found everywhere makes sense, and it is right choice. Groundwater is actually rainwater. Nicely done. True is a solid answer. Floods cause extensive damage to.
Valid point. All of the above is true.
Water is a what type of resource? On track. Renewable resource is the correct answer, which is the purest form of water. Nice selection. Rainwater is the correct and valid answer.
Human body has -% of water.
You chose 70, and it is correct. 3 states of water found on Earth. Nice work. You chose solid, liquid, and gas, and it is correct. The term water table relates to. You got it. Your choice groundwater is right. What happens if it stopped raining? Solid response. Drought is a valid choice.
Water is not useful for human.
Right choice. False is the best answer. How much water do we use daily? Right again. 50 to 100 liters is a valid answer. The Faiche scale is a range from. Excellent choice. Joe 14 is the right answer. Water in our tap comes from a. Well done. River, lake, or well is the right choice. There are 2 states of water. Sharp thinking. False is the right choice. Polluted water can cause dash. Perfect. Diarrhea is the correct choice.
Solutions are dash mixtures.
Clear logic. Your choice homogeneous is sound and 100% true. When water dash deforms. Smart move. Condenses is an accurate answer. Rain is what form of water? Good job. Your answer liquid works well here. List down the uses of water. Great thinking. All of the above is the right choice. What is a universal solvent? Smart pick. Water is the correct choice. Water is essential for dash. Well reasoned. Life is the correct choice. Ice is lighter than water. Good thinking. True is the right answer.
How we can save the water?
Well picked. By rainwater harvesting is the correct answer. Inorganic waste contains. Right choice. Phosphate and nitrate is the best answer. Name some water sources.
Nicely done. All of these is a solid answer.
Open source of water are. Correct. Both of these is the right answer.
Purest form of water is.
Smart pick. Rainwater is the correct choice. Example of condensation. Nice work. You chose both dew and cloud, and it is correct. Boiling point of water. Well picked. 100 degree is the correct answer. Water vapor is soiled. Valid point. False is true. How do we use water? Strong choice. We drink it is the right answer. Main source of water. Good job. Your answer rain works well here.
Water is called dash.
You chose universal solvent, and it is correct.
Water is a good dash.
Excellent. Solvent is a brilliant choice. Oceans are made of. Good thinking. Salt water is the right answer.
Sewage waste is a.
Perfect. Liquid waste is the correct choice.
What causes rain?
Well reasoned. All of the above is the correct choice.
Drinking water is.
Well done. Transparent is the right choice.
Potable water is.
On track. Groundwater at selected places is the correct answer.
Water is an.
Nice selection. Compound is the correct and valid answer.
How you will get all these quiz questions in PDF books. Format.
Great job. Contact Narayan Changda on Facebook is the accurate answer.